Welcome, everybody, to episode 24 of Dual Boot Diaries, the weekly podcast where two longtime Windows users learn to use Linux in their daily life. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Patrick Murray.
I'm your other host, Will Smith, and we are not Linux experts yet. Each week we go through our experiences using Linux daily, and at the end of this whole show, it's going to culminate with, us deleting either Windows or Linux, theoretically. I don't know, maybe not. I'm back and forth. A few weeks ago, I thought Windows was gone for sure. Now, not so sure. So I don't know. Let's talk about what's going on this week. What's cooking, man?
Yeah, I think we dive into it because we got some fun stuff, mostly follow-ups, but a couple new smatterings of information. So why don't you go first? You got some good stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's see, couple of follow-ons for stuff that we talked about last week. I realized that I could put formatting into my Neri config.kdl that lets me control how my keyboard shortcut cheat sheet is displayed. So I spent I don't want to talk about how long I spent doing it, but I spent some time. I streamlined some stuff. I made it work better on both Windows and both on my laptop and my desktop, multi-monitor and single monitor. So now when I press the super key and I go up, it goes to the monitor above me. And when I press the super key and go down, it goes to the monitor below me. And that's a pretty substantial quality of life improvement, it turns out.
How was it doing it before? Was it just locking to one monitor, or was it showing on both? Or
yeah, I think I had to hit shift to go to a different monitor before. So I was locked on one monitor unless I held down shift, and then I could press up and down to go between monitors with shift. But this is better. I also did some mouse wheel binding, so I can scroll with super plus the mouse wheel, which is nice. I'd been doing that with
for your shortcuts.
To scroll between the tiles on the Windows.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about your shortcuts still.
Yeah, no.
Real quick. How often are you bringing up that shortcut window?
Absolutely never. Not one time since I did all this work.
Really?
I don't want to talk about that.
That was not the answer I was expecting.
Yeah. So, look. Sometimes you do work thinking. Sometimes it's just to make you feel better about things. I've updated that plugin 3 times. Each time it requires a click. I have not used it one time. So, but it did make me rethink how my shortcuts are set up on the desktop, and I'm glad you enjoyed this, Adam.
Sorry, I can't.
Well, I know what the TikTok's going to be this week. Bam. Effing roasted.
Oh, thank you. This is a good laugh. Wow. Okay. No judgment. No judgment. It's just I guess I assumed, you're always like, I thought you were going to say like, oh yeah, like a dozen times I got to remember what something is. So,
It turns out the act of doing the work to make the keyboard shortcut thing look good made me remember what all the keyboard shortcuts are. And now I'm fine.
Okay.
Super plus C, I'm centering the window. That's nice, right?
Either way, now I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
The system works. Okay. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Moving on. Mouse.
So I did liquid. I was looking into the AIO situation because we talked about cooler control a little bit last week, and I have it just cooler control does not see my motherboard's fan headers. It's just they are invisible to it. I installed some extra modules which seemed to maybe work, but I still can't control them. They're not like the BIOS isn't letting go of them or whatever. But I realized And
real quick, this is a Asus motherboard.
It's an Asus motherboard. It's a 670, I think.
670, I think.
Yeah, Strix maybe. I can't remember which line.
Okay. But a higher end Asus motherboard.
It's a
for
high
AM5.
mid. Yeah.
Okay.
So it turns out it's a fairly common problem with Asus. There's some solves. I realized, though, in the process of doing this, that the fan that's actually annoying and that I'm not controlling from the UEFI curves is the one that's built into the pump unit of the AIO. It's designed to keep like the VRMs and all the stuff around the socket cool. And it has just an absolutely insane range of RPMs. It goes from like 800 RPMs up to 5,600 or something like that.
It's a relatively small fan too. It's like what, 80?
It's smaller than that. It's like a 40 or a 60 or something. It's a little guy.
Yeah. So real quick, just so people know, like you have a really nice AIO that has like a screen on the top of it, but you can actually detach the screen from the top.
Yeah.
And it has like a little cooler inside of it that helps, blow air down onto the motherboard and across to help with the VRMs and the the DRAM and stuff like that. It's pretty common.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
Well, some of them, like I want to say the Arctic-Cool ones and some of the other ones let you control it off the fan header with the CPU fan. It just runs at the same speed as your CPU, or it's on the same speed as your pump header or something like that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they have their own header. This one, when the CPU spins up, even though the water temperature in the loop is relatively stable, the fan gets real freaking loud, like insanely loud.
Because it's tracking the CPU temperature, not the liquid temperature.
I think it's tracking the CPU temperature, not the liquid temperature. Maybe it's looking at VRMs. I don't know what it's looking at.
No.
All I know is when Steam starts downloading a file, all of a sudden it sounds like a little tiny jet turbine in there.
Oh yeah, it's got to be the CPU temperatures then.
Yeah, and I tested it. I opened up the case and popped the lid off the AIO because you don't actually need it for the pump to work. It's just cosmetic. It's magneted on the thing with the screen. And
the fan's in the side with the screen.
Yeah, the fan's in the side of the screen. And what I learned when I did that is that the loud noise went away, which was exciting. So then I started looking at liquid control. That's LIQUIDCTL. It's a library that a lot of like aftermarket cooling software uses, and they have a big support. They have a big giant list of AIOs that they support, including some of the other members of the Ryujin 3 family and Ryujin 2 family, which are basically the same hardware, just with different screens and stuff attached to them. Mm-hmm. And I looked, and it supported one of the versions that's exactly the same hardware as my AIO, but I have the white one instead of the black one. And they're different names. Like they report different names to the OS in their USB connections. So I opened up the Python file, and I took one that is exactly the same hardware, and I opened up the Linux command that lets me see what the LSUSB header name, what the names are that are reported. And I copied and pasted the USB name from one from my device into the spot that the one that I don't have is in the file, and then I ran it and it worked.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So now I can control the max speed of that fan.
So is this GUI based or is this command line? Or?
Oh, this is all text,
really? Baby. Wait, so we've talked about this before, where somebody had mentioned that I look into something like that. Can you I'm sure it's easy enough to just be like, okay, set a manual speed at a static speed at something. How do you form a curve? For me, I'm such a visual person. You don't care. You just put it at a static speed?
That thing is a flat speed. I set it to run at 30% because it doesn't need to go loud faster than that.
It doesn't. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
But I can also get the water temperature now, which I wasn't able to do even on Windows, which is awesome. So without running the Armory Crate stuff. So now I can, theoretically, if I was in Windows and running fan control, I could use liquid control to pipe the liquid temperature into fan control, so I could base my curves on the liquid temperature. I'm not doing that, but Linux.
But you could.
Linux.
Yeah. Oh, man. Wait.
Yeah.
So, but cooler control, you said that was the application?
Cooler control is the GUI one that I haven't been able to get to work with this Asus motherboard, really. I feel like I made some progress on that, and I didn't write it down in the notes. So let's see if I actually did. Let's see. I have LED controllers. Yeah, I have temperatures. I have sensors. No fan controls whatsoever in the Asus board. I can control the NVIDIA GPU, and I can control the LED controllers on the motherboard and the motherboard headers, but no other fans. So,
but liquid control, the thing that is good.
It's a command line library. It's a library that other apps use, basically. So a lot of company, I want to say my old NZXT 240 AIO. I could use liquid control with fan control to do exactly what I'm doing here. So
that's awesome. I mean,
huge win, right?
Yeah. I mean, can you address other headers on your motherboard, or is this that only liquid control USB is devices?
Just for the AIOs. So it's literally their whole deal is all we care about is pumps, but it was loops.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so that was good. I felt like I did some real hacking business there. I have another Stream Machine update. We swapped the CPU out last week. We talked about that, fixing the main crashing and the weird instability and all the drop frames.
And everything's good now, right?
Well,
you thought the CPU was dead.
So I did a stream on Monday night, and as I was like 30 seconds into the 62 seconds into the stream, because I got a note about, hey, why did you have a 62-second stream? Is something wrong from Twitch? The machine just completely froze. Like couldn't drop to a console, couldn't do anything. So I dug into the logs. I used my system journal to go back in time one boot and see where the crash was. And it's amazing because I haven't really put the timestamps in there, but like there were like 1,000 lines of log in the last 2 microseconds of that machine before it crashed. Right.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it logs a lot, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I looked at it, and there's a bunch of kind of chaff error messages, stuff that probably doesn't matter. But then there was one that I had never seen before that was like an NVIDIA specific thing with NVEnc and OBS and CUDA. And I was like, huh. And I looked it up, and it was like, this is probably, you should submit this to the kernel team. And I did that. Here's the bug submission. I think this might be an NVIDIA problem. You know how people always say NVIDIA drivers on Linux are bad? I thought to myself, I said, what if, and this is just crazy talk, what if this is an NVIDIA problem with the drivers on Linux? So I said that to you, and you were like, well, why don't you grab an AMD video card and take it home and try it?
Okay, and?
I grabbed an AMD, like a base level 9060. You know, one of the low
like
memory
entry level,
entry level,
8 gig.
waste of sand, I think is what the internet called them. And I took the GeForce card out, and I put the AMD card in, and I went to the Cache wiki, and I searched for how to change GPUs from AMD to NVIDIA, and they had a page for that, which was really nice. And I ran 4 commands, and I rebooted. And then I checked to make sure that everything's working, and I installed one thing that OBS asked for, and I started it up, and it worked fine, except for the instant replay buffer. So I have like a thing that starts automatically when I start a stream that records, like just keeps the last 30 seconds of video in a memory buffer, and then can dump that out to a file if something interesting happens. And my chat can type a command in chat, and that'll save that file and create a Twitch clip at the same time. So I get like 2.
Oh, that's nice.
So like in OBS, I can pop up an instant replay of something fun that happened, right? Which is
instant replay.
It doesn't do that. That would be cool. Actually, I should clip that out.
Yeah, there you go. Alex, send Will the file.
So instant replay. But it was crashing out and saying, hey, you don't have NVEnc installed on this computer. I was like, I don't have NVEnc installed on this computer because NVEnc isn't on this computer. And the way the replay feature works is it uses, in OBS you have the streaming settings, and then you have the recording settings. And typically if you're recording locally while you're streaming, you say, oh, use the stream encoders. You want to use the exact same hardware for this that you're using for the stream, so you're not doing double the work.
Which you could. Just why do that?
Well, and there are legit reasons to, like, if you want to record, like if you're streaming at 1080p and you want to record a 4K version for YouTube, then you would record the 4K version on the recording tab and stream the 1080p, and that's totally fine. I'm doing the enhanced broadcast streaming, which by the way worked great on AMD. Which means it's making 4 or 5 different streams, one for like 1440p, one for 1080p, one for 720p, one for 480, one for 360. Those last 2 I think are always CPU because they're kind of low lift, 360p, who cares? But the 1080p and the 1440p, the 1440p is an HEVC. The 1080p is an AV1, I think. So H.264, right? Or AVC rather, not AVC is H.264. Yeah. So it's H.264. And then I expected that the replay would just use the highest quality of those presets when you set it to use stream encoders. But there's a bug in OBS, which I have to submit. I haven't done that one yet. That just always has it do NVEnc or something when you're using the enhanced broadcasting. So I had to manually set the recording encoders for both audio and video to be the same as the highest quality encoder that I'm doing, and then it seems to work with no extra overhead. So I got that going.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was gonna ask, like, that. Then does that give it extra overhead?
No, it seems like it's a configuration situation, not a.
Okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
But and you didn't run into any VRAM limits on that card, or I mean, it only like that 9060. If I remember correctly, only has one encoder.
So
where the 3080 you had dual encoders.
It should have had two, I think. This is a place the documentation is really bad for everybody. I don't think that anybody explicitly says how many encoders different GPUs have. The place I find that information is always buried in forum posts someplace.
No, I think NVIDIA does on their site at least.
Do they? I mean, Tech Power Up didn't have it, at least for the older part that's in that machine. The AMD tech specs page and their like equivalent of ARC had nothing about how many encoders are in the different SKUs, which is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if the information is not there, we do have the ability to ping people and try to get that. Oh yeah. So if you look on the GeForce site, I'm looking at the 50 series, and it does list out how many encoders and what generation they are.
I don't think that they do that for the 30 series.
No, they do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You had a 3080 or a
3080 Ti, I think is what's in there, but I think they're
so
basically
that
the
had
same.
one 5th gen. Oh, decoder. Oh, the encoder you had 1 7th gen.
Okay. So that's NVENC
encoder. So there was only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
In order to get to 2, you would have to have a 5070 Ti, and that's 9th gen. Or actually, maybe in the 40 series. Let's see, 4070 Ti. Oh, okay. So 4070 Ti had 2 8th gen. Yeah. So it looks like that. I mean, but that's also overkill for what you have.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, man, listen, you've been on a journey with this. You originally, one of the original reasons why you thought it was the motherboard or the CPU, because when you put it in that plastic case and it had no discrete GPU, you were getting issues then.
It lasted like 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's just like a confluence of stuff, because some of it was legitimately OBS configuration being carried over for Windows.
I think there were. Right now, I think there's 4 different things that were causing problems. The OBS configuration carrying over from Windows, and having like Windows sources that were tied to Windows APIs that don't exist in Linux. That was one. The CPU, I think 100% is busted. Just to be clear, because
we should test it. But
yeah, the specific crashes. I was getting crashes in Windows and Linux. That wasn't a Linux problem. That was like Windows wouldn't install core drivers with that 65. The video card potentially being problematic on Linux, the NVIDIA one. Like it's interesting because I wonder if this is like an edge casey enough thing that not very many people do it. Therefore, the surface area of testing is lower than, say, playing games, which a lot of people are doing on NVIDIA hardware and Linux, I think, these days. And then I think that was the last one. So three things maybe. So yeah, there we go.
I mean, but like now more than ever, you're close to having it just be a utility.
Last night I turned it on and hit a button on my Stream Deck on my main PC and it just worked. Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean,
we're getting there.
Like this makes me feel like, we should have a standalone video on how to stream on Linux. But
I think
like it's been a journey. I mean, like I guess I do wonder how many people out there need this information.
I think I'm probably an edge case, a pretty extreme edge case on this.
Let us know. Get in the comments. Get over on Discord. There's a link to our Discord in the description.
And to be clear, like the bad hardware is just bad luck, right?
Well, yeah, theoretically.
I mean, look, I've killed some Intel CPUs. There's a well-established bias here. The importing your config over from Windows is an ongoing problem that I think they have to probably think about fixing at some point. That needs to be on their list, because they should have parsed out the config and been like, oh, there's no such thing as Wasapi on Linux. We should just either flag this as a thing that they need to recreate when we import a Windows config, or say, yo, don't import your Windows scene configs, right? Like that would be an acceptable solution too. I think that I don't know. It's OBS is weirdly supported on Linux. We talked about like the browser, like some distros not shipping the browser plugin that like everybody uses to do overlays on Twitch. So we talked about like some people not shipping plugins like the VLC plugin and like all these other things that are just a core part of functionality on Windows. So, and then I'm also having weird problems with hotkeys. Like the thing that triggers, it's funny, the script, I have a script that basically all the script does is it runs in OBS, and when you trigger the instant replay hotkey, it saves that instant replay buffer. And then it also changes the thing that one of the instant replay source, the one that you pop up, is pointing to, so that you get, so that like when you hit the button to show the instant replay source, it's always the most current instant replay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That script triggers on a keyboard shortcut. And I previously on Windows had my bot that does the triggering just hit a keyboard shortcut. On Windows, that is fraud. Like on Linux, that's fraud. Like keyboard shortcuts are a nightmare. You have to like declare them at the system level in Wayland. There's all sorts of business that has to happen. It's really stupid.
And you have to configure a shortcut cheat sheet that you don't even use. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, no, remember I'm using KDE on the stream machine, like a decent human being. So this is KDE business. This isn't my weird Neary perversions. So anyway, so I got that. Feeling pretty good about that after last night, but one stream's a little light to make a value judgment, so we'll do some more over the next week.
I feel like we've been here before, and then a week later you're like, ooh, actually.
I'll report back next week once more. And then let's see, we're going to talk about handheld stuff in a bit. I did finally figure out, I had two versions of GeForce Now on my computer. I couldn't figure out which one was the right one and how to get rid of them. And I figured it out. One of them is an Electron version that there's a little button in the top right corner of the app, like a little 3 dots kind of pull down menu that looks like it's maybe outside the app. That's part of the task, the bar Chrome for the app. And you could pull that down and be like, hey, get rid of this from there. Because it's just like a Chrome pack. It's like one of those Chrome app packages that they used to do in the old days.
I mean, which is, like they've had support for that. Like, run GeForce Now in the browser for a while.
So I did that, and it went away from my menu, and it's gone now, and I have one GeForce Now that works really well.
And that's the Flatpak version.
That is the Flatpak official version from NVIDIA, yes.
Great. Okay.
Last question. We'll talk about it next week or in a video on PCWorld, but I've been testing this Super Strike mouse. It's the new Logitech haptic. Like it's a magnetic switch with haptic feedback. They call it the HITS system, I think. And it basically works like a trackpad on a MacBook or a laptop that doesn't have a movable trackpad, in that the haptic actuator pops a bump when the magnetic analog switch click happens, so that you feel a click even though there's nothing mechanical clicking there. It's wild. It's like an esports mouse for people who are playing games like Arc Raiders. Frankly, I use it in Arc Raiders a lot. It's good for tapping, like lots of fast taps with very low pressure.
So cheaters.
Yeah, hacks basically.
Yeah.
It's not for cheaters.
Well, do you remember the first time you felt that technology on a MacBook?
Yeah. We literally had to turn. We did a video about it on Tested, didn't we?
Oh,
I think.
I don't remember.
Norm got one of those MacBooks, and we were like, we had to figure out how to turn the power off all the way on the MacBook because we couldn't believe that it wasn't moving. If that, you know what I mean? Like it feels
like
incredibly
rather than
convincing.
going to sleep.
Yeah.
No, I remember thinking like getting down at eye level and just being like, no, there's no way. Like
we pointed a high-speed camera at it, right? We were like, maybe it's just going so fast we're going in between frames at 60 frames a second.
It does feel good. Like I've had implementations on Windows laptops like feel good as well. But yeah, it's interesting that this is coming to a mouse. I mean, like I guess I'm not surprised, but like they gotta sell more mice, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many ways can you change a mouse?
Those mice aren't going to sell themselves. I'm bringing this up because you configure it. It doesn't have a web-based configurator like a lot of more current devices are. Adam doesn't like this. I don't like it. You have to use G-Hub or the Logitech Onboard Memory Manager, which is, they don't put a link to that on their site anymore, but apparently it still works even with this new mouse.
Oh, wait. So it can store profiles on the mouse itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, you have to go into Windows, configure it at least once, and then
Yeah.
you can get back to Linux and
That's the
things are
theory.
just saved.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how much is there to tool around with? Do you feel like
There's a
like,
lot.
oh man, this is going to be a pain because I'm constantly needing to go back to Windows to change something?
So when we played Arc Raiders the other day, when you and I and Luis played the other day, I was in Windows specifically, so I could tool around with it. Like it was a fair amount of like figuring out what the right actuation point is and all that stuff is. I feel like it's pretty locked in. Like it's like an afternoon, probably not like an infinite adjustment.
But once
period.
you're locked in, you feel like, oh, okay, well, I don't really need to go back and change stuff.
Well, but I bring it up because when I was searching about this to see if there's a way to manage the mouse remotely, there were a lot of people talking about running either the onboard memory manager, which has full configuration options, or GHub itself in Linux using Lutris and Proton. And I was like, this seems like a bad idea to me, but I want to get feedback from the community and see what people think. My policy generally on mouse software is that I install it. It's like Armory Crate, right? I install it once, I do the stuff that I need to do, then I get rid of it and never look at it again, right? I uninstall it completely. GHub is the same software for me. Like if I need to change something, I install GHub, I do the thing, and then I uninstall GHub. I don't want it running all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
I always use the onboard profile. I literally save the settings to the onboard profile and then get rid of the software.
That doesn't sound too different than if you needed to change something, it would add an extra step that you would have to go back to Windows to then install GHub to then delete it. And then, well, except for if you're going over just to change it, do you think you would just leave GHub on Windows?
I would just leave GHub on. Okay. I hardly use Windows at all anymore. Like it's shocking how little I go over there.
But why would you be scared to use it in Linux like Lutris and Proton?
I mean, it's probably fine. They're going to kind of keep it contained. I'm just curious if anybody's tried it. I wanted to get feedback. I thought it was a good opportunity to engage with the folks at home.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, listen, like a lot of people use Logitech. Like peripherals, like what was the one you're coming from? The GO2 or whatever? Isn't
the Superlight is what I was using previously.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, isn't the GO2 like the popular one?
There's a bunch. The G502 is the one that's like
G502.
That's a classic. I have one. It's in a drawer down there, but it's a classic design. They've been making it for like 15 years at this point. It's a much heavier mouse. I like basically they've split into like light mouse, heavy mouse camps, and the 502 is like the heavy traditional mouse. The Pro Super Light, Super what are they? Super Strike X2. Are the light ones. This is 63 grams, which is heavy for the light mouse people, but still much lighter than most mice that you've used. So
I just like heavy balls. So
you do like giant. They call them heavy balls, Adam.
Nope. That's a trackball. I'm a trackball guy. That's what I was talking
about. Last question I have for the community. My OBS virtual camera in Linux gets laggy sometimes, and I don't understand why. Like it's you've seen it a couple of times where my like mouth, lip flap, and audio get out of sync. The audio is right, the video gets behind, and I don't know what's causing it.
Do you know where it's encoding? CPU or GPU?
It's not encoding because I'm just doing virtual camera, so I'm not. I shouldn't be. It should just be compositing and not really encoding. Right?
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Because that was my first question. Like, it sounds like maybe like a little encoding lag or something, but
it's a NVENC H264 according to the is what the encoding's doing. It must be encoding something because it says recordings. It says it's acting like it's recording something when the virtual camera's on. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because it locks you out of the recording sessions,
right?
Or settings.
So
it's got to. I bet it's got to be related to something like that. Maybe like a buffer fills up and then overflows every once in a while. I
don't know. I'd be curious. Like I would love feedback on this and things I can try. I'm at a little bit of a loss. I spent some time on it, but I didn't get anywhere. So, and it's actually it's kind of hard to repeat. I'm looking at OBS right now, and it looks like 1, 2. Yeah, it's fine right now. 0 latency. So
yeah, you're fine now.
So that's it for me. That's what I got. We'll talk about the kind of stream machine. The handheld stuff in a minute, though. I hope.
Yeah. Well, before we move on to talking about my homework and what I've been working on, let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Anyway, all jokes aside, I have been catching up on some stuff. Luckily, with the help of Discord, I feel bad because every once in a while I'll just like go in Discord and be like, hey, what the hell? This isn't working. This is what? Come on, please, somebody help me here. And I'm drowning. And people are like, oh no, Adam's in here. We got to bail him out again.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm just kidding. No, nobody's said that.
They're just thinking it, looking at you,
probably
staring.
just thinking about it. Well, the first one has been LACT because I have been running my home theater PC. And I have noticed like those fans spin up way more aggressive and way like louder than it was in Windows.
The GPU fans specifically.
Well, honestly, like I guess I was just assuming it was a GPU fan. I actually did go into the BIOS and change the curves of the CPU fan because it is a really low profile CPU cooler. And I was like, you know what, just to take it out of the equation, I need to make sure that I mean, listen, I could have just stuck my finger in there and confirmed.
I'm glad you've shown some growth, Adam. That's good that you didn't do that.
Unfortunately, one of the last times I did that, I broke a blade. I didn't want to tell anyone, but I actually, at CES, I broke a fan blade doing that.
On somebody's demo unit?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I doubt the company is watching, but yeah, no, it was like we were filming a video. Dude. Willis was actually with me, and Willis always would have a heart attack when I would do it. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. You just jam your finger in there and it stops the fan. And then all of a sudden it snapped the blade and I was just like, okay, I'm sorry. I won't do that at trade shows anymore. My own fans, I'll keep doing it. But other people's fans, I should probably not do that. Anyway, I didn't do it on this one. And I wanted to look at what the fan curve was set at for the CPU cooler anyway, because right now it's a 7800 X3D low profile cooler. I have PBO set to enhanced and targeting a profile of ADC, meaning it's overclocking what it can until it hits ADC and then backs off. So like I already have hard capped you're saying
throttle as soon as it hits ADC is basically.
Well, I mean, it's not throttling. It's more like stop overclocking.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not throttling. It's more like if I ran it without PBO, that thing would probably just be running at like 60, mid 60s. I guess I shouldn't say I have no idea. I haven't been looking at it, but usually that's one of the easiest ways to overclock a CPU and get some higher better performance out of it is to say, enable PBO. A lot of people do curve offsets to help minimize and things like that. But the easier way is just to say, hey, you know what? Boost until you hit ADC and then stop boosting. So it's not really throttling. It's more like it just cuts back on the boost. Anyway, so I already knew the temperature that I'm targeting for the CPU because that's just a set variable. And so I was looking at the curve in the UEFI, to say, oh, okay, well, where are the fan speeds at certain parts, and what is it going to hit when it hits ADC, things like that. And anyway, I made some changes. I actually brought it down a little bit, and I brought it down a little too much because most of the time under the default curve, I actually wasn't hitting 80 at all. But I brought it down and I was hitting 80. And I was like, okay. But also I didn't notice anything. The fan profile, the noise was like, I was still having the other issue. So sure, maybe it was quieter than usual, but I didn't notice it. But it at least confirmed to me that it wasn't the CPU cooler. Anyway, then I was like, okay, cool, LACT. People have been telling me LACT's awesome. I had fired up LACT. I think at the end of the last episode.
Great for controlling GPU fan curves is what I understood. Yeah.
And overclocking and things like that. Yeah. So this is GPU. I actually don't know what LACT stands for.
It's only GPUs, though. It doesn't do other stuff.
Yeah. And so anyway, I think it was the end of the last episode. I let people know that, okay, whatever I was running before, which I think was cooler control, I can't remember, wasn't working for me. So I'm just going to go ahead and use LACT. But the problem I was having was that the button they have a tab for cooling, and then there's buttons to change the profiles. There's like static and custom and auto, things like that. It was grayed out. I couldn't change any of it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I need to figure this out. I had finally had time over the weekend, excuse me, to mess around with it. So like I got in Discord and people were like, oh, you know what? Like, it sounds like you need to run it as root. It also it sounds like maybe you need to enable a service and make sure the service is running. I was going back and forth with people. It was just like I was confirming that the service was enabled. Like, I'm not getting into details here because at the end of the day, it didn't matter. I was getting frustrated, and like people were helping me confirm stuff, and they're like, this is really weird. We don't know why those controls are not there. Are you able to do the overclocking controls? And I was like, yeah, I have the button to start the overclocking stuff. I don't want to overclock the GPU. That's not what I want to do. But I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to just hit the button and try it. So yeah, like in that tab, you had to enable overclocking. And then I think it does some sort of like quick benchmarking to understand the profile of the GPU. So it waited there for like a minute and it was like, hey, okay, we understand the power profiles of your GPU, reboot to, get full access to all the voltages and frequencies and things like that. So I rebooted and I went back in, and lo and behold, I could change the fan profiles. So
did you read the getting started guide on the LACT website, Adam?
Yes, actually, a lot of people sent me a lot of different pages in the LACT website, and like I said, most of the people were saying, "Hey, you need to have a certain service running," and for some reason, it looks like that service is not running, but the service was running. Like it was confirmed. So like that's what was confusing. So I guess I don't know if maybe it enabled a different kind of service by doing the overclocking, or it was just a GUI based thing where enabling overclocking then just allowed you to have access to the fan controls.
It looks like you have to set a boot flag, and that enable overclocking does that for you. But if you don't do that, then it's not going to work on AMD is what I'm seeing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember if we did a boot flag or not, but
checking that enable overclocking box and then rebooting does the boot flag on most distros.
I mean, so I guess long story short, I don't like that. Like that. Okay. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, because I didn't want to overclock at all.
But you're running it out of spec, right? Like what you're saying by what they're saying is enable overclocking means run this hardware out of spec.
Okay, but it was on the overclocking tab. It wasn't on the fan controlling tab. Like, I could understand if maybe it's the same button and you just hit it, in either of them and it does the same thing. Fair. But I get it. Anyway, I got it. I confirmed by literally manually turning all the fans to 100%, which I can confirm is very loud. It was not actually hitting 100% when I've been playing recently.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, whoo, these fans can go. And actually, honestly, at 50%, I think I was hitting more like 45, 50% is what like it was hitting. And like even that was loud enough that I'm like, it shouldn't be running this loud because
that's wild.
I manually set it down to, I think it was maybe like 20% static. Played a game and it was still like in the low 70s GPU temp wise, like at full load. And I was just like, man, I can't believe you can have access to 100%. Like, when would you ever need that? I mean, maybe I guess if you're trying to overclock or something, but like for me, I was like, okay, well this doesn't make sense. So auto was too aggressive. And then I set the manual and was messing around with the temperature stuff. And then also there was a button to enable 0 RPM mode, which like if I'm sitting there at a static desktop, it doesn't need to spin up. So,
I do that on the NVIDIA cards usually. Like my 5090 doesn't spin up unless it gets above, I think it's 20% is when the fans start to spin. Yeah. Yeah.
So I enabled 0 RPM mode. I visually inspected it and I was like, okay, those fans are not turning, because I wanted to then now go back to the CPU fan and be like, okay, what am I hearing with the CPU fan? The CPU fan was actually really quiet.
Okay.
With what I had set. And I was like,
do you have one of those thermal rate coolers in this, or is it something else?
Yeah, it's the all copper one.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was sitting there doing nothing, just configuring stuff. So nothing under load.
That's what
I was
it does.
like, wait, I hear another fan. Oh no, I think this is the fan that's loud, because I was manually turning all the fans down and being like, oh wow, there's a different, and I looked and it was the power supply fan, and I was like, oh no,
for that little guy.
It's a SFX, a Cooler Master. I don't remember the exact model, but it's a small form factor power supply.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, I put 2 and 2 together a little bit because I've had some crashing in my games where the game would just hard lock.
Just black screen or hard lock?
No. Just hard lock.
Okay.
Like on load, usually, like loading screens
Weird.
and things like that. And then I was like, oh no, I think maybe this power supply has pooped the bed. So,
boy.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I figured out LACT. It's great. It's awesome. I feel like I've got my temperatures under control and managed, there's always fine tuning to do. And, that's part of the fun of building a PC is doing performance tuning and trying to keep it quiet, but try to still maximize performance, especially in a small form factor that's sitting under your TV. But yeah, I think now the next part of me is just like, oh, okay, I think I have to change out that power supply. I've actually used that power supply for a while now. It's an older,
they have a
small
finite
form factor power
lifespan,
supply.
and
And so I was also thinking, I was like, man, I guess I've never tried to control the fan in a power supply. I don't think that's usually surfaced in a way that you could do, but also I'm not even going to risk that. That's
on desktop.
I'm going to go down.
So some power supplies have fan header connectors you can plug in.
Yep.
Most of them, it's funny, I used to talk to Gordon about this. Like he said, most of them just don't ever spin. Like there's no spinning on the fan headers at all.
Yeah.
So
or on
the power supply fan. Yeah, like it's unusual for them to spin up. Now we were talking about full size desktop power supplies. I wonder if the small form factor power supplies are different.
I have never had a problem with fan noise for a small form. Well, I shouldn't say never, but like for the most part, usually that is not the noisy part of my system.
Is there a switch on it that says, "Hey, you can"?
Not on this particular model, like a fanless,
yeah, like a quiet or not quiet mode.
Yeah. Not on this. This is not like a high end small form factor kind of thing. So yeah. Anyway,
That's
thank
wild.
you everybody for figuring out LACT. LACT is awesome. I do like it. It seems like it has a lot of controls. It's not as feature rich as some things. Like when I was doing a lot of undervolting, I was always using MSI Afterburner. Not that I'm going to do it here, so whatever. I'm not trying to compare it, but like I've used different tools to try to change some of this stuff. Even Sapphire, this is a Sapphire GPU. They sent it over for this testing. Sapphire has control, a Windows app for controlling. When we had Ed on, he was talking about, maybe we'll look into a web-based version for controlling some of the CPU function or GPU functions, but. Yeah, so it's good. Anyway, I like LACT. I think that's going to be my default, and it's flat pack. It was I'm trying to use this as like a home theater PC that I don't want to more like a utility, like a console, kind of like how you're doing with the streaming machine. I was like, I just want to be able to boot into big picture mode and just play games and not have to worry about stuff. One of the questions I did have was if I set the parameters in desktop mode in the app, will it still hold, number one, upon reboot, and number two, like when I'm launching into GameScope, and I can confirm everything worked completely easily. Like if I didn't run into this whole, hey, the things were grayed out, and just kind of hit the OC button from the beginning and enabled it, this would have been nothing. I would have downloaded LACT from the Bazaar or whatever the store,
the flat pack stuff,
ran it, and everything was configured. I didn't have to mess with it, so I fully endorse using LACT for that kind of stuff. So I'm glad people pointed it out.
What else?
I do have a couple other weird stuff. I know we want to get to handheld, but I do want to cover a couple other things. So one of the other problems I've run into with this home theater PC is my controller.
Okay.
And it's not the mapping stuff. So I use a really high end. It's like one of the most expensive controllers you can get. Don't judge me. You're paying a lot for a mouse.
I'm not judging.
I can pay a lot for a controller.
Look, you demand excellence. You like if you're trying to play against mouse and keyboard people, you probably need something better than the average controller, Judd.
So I have the Scuff Envision Pro wireless.
Okay.
So they sent this over to me for review. It's been out for I think a couple years now, but essentially this has been my favorite control I've ever used. Like the customization, it's very tactile and clicky. I like the thumbsticks, the like everything about it like is awesome. It even has like a lot of opportunities for extra button presses. It's got back buttons, but then also side buttons, like off to the, so you actually press them right here with your hand.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's a great controller. I love it, but unfortunately, it's controlled through IQ because Scuf is owned by Corsair, and there is no Linux app. Luckily, it has onboard profiles. Completely work on Linux. I have had no problems there. Sorry, you had a question?
I was going to say, is it based, like for a long time, Scuf used to do, they would do like, they'd take like a PlayStation controller and then kind of tart it up. Is this one of those, or is this an original design?
This is an original design, but it still usually falls into, I mean, they have a bunch of other controllers they offer, but it usually falls into the design of like, hey, is it asymmetric sticks or is it symmetric sticks? You know, like this one, I actually prefer symmetric sticks. So this does kind of look like a PS5
Yeah, it looks like a
DualSense
or a DualShock, yeah.
But it doesn't have the touchpad, even though that area up there kind of looks like it a little bit. It's no, so... actually, I don't believe you can even use this controller on PlayStation. This is targeted for PC players.
Okay.
Anyway,
so does it have like the audio port? Like,
yep.
Like, okay.
It has an audio port, and this is the problem I'm having is that I've been playing Arc Raiders recently with you and Luis and stuff, and I have the volume maxed out in GameScope. I have the volume maxed out because some of the hotkeys on the bottom of the controller I have for volume into the headset, and it's not that loud. And I've been having a problem like hearing everybody, and like usually what I've been doing in Arc Raiders is turning down sliders in the game for the game sounds. But even then, I'm still having a hard time hearing either you guys or especially when other people come in on mic. Even though I have it turned up in Arc.
Are you connecting with Bluetooth or are you connecting with their low latency business?
So yeah, no, I was using the low latency dongle, but then I did plug in a controller and still nothing.
Wired, still not loud.
Or plugged in USB-C, plugged in. Does
it show up in your list of audio devices?
Yes, yeah. So inside games full screen mode or whatever, it shows up. It says Scuf Pro, so I can manually select it, and then the volume slider is just cranked all the way, and it's just
so. But if you go into desktop mode, can you get into the advanced panel on it? Because you can boost the volume on a per input device in the advanced panel.
I guess I didn't try that, but it did get me thinking like, well, that really sucks. I don't know why. But also like I don't want to have to go into desktop mode to adjust the audio.
I think you'll have to do it once, and then it'll give you a wider range on the whole thing.
Oh, you think like max it out?
I think you just need to say, hey, this thing needs more oomph.
Well, then it got me thinking. I was like, okay, well, other than the audio thing, I do like using this controller on Linux. Other than the mapping problem I had when I first fired it up, but you know what? I should try some of my other controllers. I have a vast library of controllers.
Yeah, you love controllers.
I do. I literally have a box at work of controllers. And so I grabbed my on hand at home. I have the Xbox Elite Series 2 or whatever, the newer Elite one.
The most recent Elite, I think.
Yes. Yeah. The other really expensive controller that's out there. And the buttons mapped. Great. Perfectly fine. Everything worked good with the dongle and with wired. I tried both, except for I could not get audio out. I didn't go to the desktop, so I guess I didn't check there. But within the big picture mode or GameScope, I feel like we need a better name for that because it's not just big picture mode. It's literally
like the SteamOS,
taking
Steam
up
Deck mode. Yeah.
The front end, whatever we want to call it. In the toggle, it wouldn't see it as an audio output device, and plugging in my headset, I couldn't hear anything. And I was like, okay, that's weird. So
did you try rebooting?
Yes. Yeah. No, it wasn't a driver.
Were you using Bluetooth or were you using the Xbox dongle thing?
I tried the Xbox dongle and then I tried it wired, and both it just didn't see an audio output, which was really weird. So whatever, once again, I was just curious. So by default, not that this can't be fixed, but I just want to tell people by default, it was not getting audio out. And then I was like, okay, well, I also have the PS5 Pro Edge DualSense Premium Plus controller, whatever that expensive PS5 controller is.
Yeah.
I plugged that in, and you use this on PC, right?
I use DualSense every day plugged in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never have, and then the little glyphs in SteamOS or the front end launcher, whatever, changed to map to the PlayStation buttons, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. Have you seen that?
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I dig that. So it sounded better. The audio did work. The button glyphs changed. All the mappings were completely fine, except for it kind of threw me off because then when I was playing Arc Raiders didn't show the PlayStation buttons. And so I was a little like, oh, yeah, I don't.
So yeah, that has to do with how games support Steam input and whether they like some games just treat everything that Steam hands them as an Xbox controller, because that's basically the default on Windows. Some games use the Steam input. There's a Steam input API that says, hey, use the glyphs that are in the controller that's attached. But if they just are using like X input or something like that, and then Steam is wrapping Steam input to X input for the game, then you're not going to get the glyphs change.
Oh, yeah. So should I turn off Steam input?
No? I have had bad luck with the DualSense without using Steam input on Linux.
Okay. Anyway, whatever. I was just curious. So the audio did sound better, but it was still low. It was still not as loud as I expected it to, which was it's still really weird.
Yeah.
Also, the other weird thing I was getting by default, once again, I just had plugged it in, tried a couple things, rebooted, is that anytime Luis was talking to me on comms, the vibration motor in the controller would rumble to his voice.
That'll happen.
And I was like, what the heck is that?
Yeah. Yep. They call that res mode. That's just
What
a feature.
is that?
It's because the rumble. It's because rumble is often sent to the controllers as audio waveforms. So like the way you edit the haptic bump feel. Okay. And what's happening is your driver is probably sending stereo, and the controller is thinking that stereo is one channel or the other for the haptic triggers or the rumble or something.
Well, I did not like that. Is that how do you turn that off?
You probably have to set the output to mono instead of stereo would be my guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
like on my machine, my DualSense shows as a mono speaker, and when I send stuff to it, it does not dance across the table. So.
Okay. Anyway, that was the extent of my just plugging things in and seeing how they worked out of the box. I'm gonna go back to the Scuff. I love that controller, so I wanna plug that in and go to the desktop and kind of look at what you were talking about.
So
it's KDE. So
on my output devices, on my KDE, on Neri, I'm using the KDE application for this though. I can set it all the way up to like 200%.
What is that doing though? Does that introduce distortion? Is that like
doesn't seem to
boosting the signal past what? Yeah.
That's the speaker on the
controller.
Yeah. I don't know. I tested it out. It's funny. I haven't used this I haven't looked at this at all it's not I don't plug. I'm never in a situation where I'm going to plug a pair of headphones into the controller anymore to do the thing that you do when you do that. Like
because I'm on the home theater PC, so I just I usually I guess I could change my headset to a wireless one as well, but I really like the headset I use. So.
Yeah. No. I mean, it should work. My guess is you can boost the output on that and just say, hey, use this different range. It's funny. I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out how audio on Linux works, and like Windows, there's like 4 different methods for doing everything. Some of them are definitely like tuned for musicians and like DAWs and stuff like that. Some of them are tuned for normal human beings. like the Stream Machine is set up with like a DAW pipeline where I can route inputs and outputs to all the stuff on my 18 port mixer and all this stuff. And it's like wild and crazy what I can do. But also, I don't know if I'm getting any benefit from it's like the keyboard shortcut thing. I'm doing a bunch of work and it's cool and I'm learning some stuff. I don't know if it's actually benefiting me in the day to day when I'm using that computer versus just like, making it easy. So anyway, we'll see.
I'm glad you admit it, though.
Yeah. Look, the difference you have to understand when you're futzing for futzing's sake and when you're futzing for increased productivity. And this is definitely a futzing sake situation.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. The last part of it about the controller stuff real quick is that all these controllers, when I plugged the headset, the wired headset into the audio port on the controller itself, none of them auto switched. I had to go into the Steam menu and manually switched it to output to which isn't, but it happens on Windows. You plug it into the controller. You can set up a rule
that'll do that automatically.
Oh, really?
I'm sure.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You just have to figure that out. The other thing to know is that controllers, and this is something that even like game developers often don't know. Game controllers plugged in and game controllers on Bluetooth or game controllers on there, like for all intents and purposes, like your SCUF using that dongle is a USB wired controller to the OS.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, what I'm selecting in the audio menu, it says dongle, not the actual controller.
Yeah. But like it shows up as a USB device, not a Bluetooth device or some other wireless spec device. The thing you have to remember is that if you set up like that auto plug rule, you're gonna have to set it up and you use the controller both in wired and Bluetooth mode. I know you're gonna have to set it up based on the mode that you like. You have to do the setup for both modes if you use it in both modes. I don't think you're going to. I'm just saying that's for people at home.
Well, but also like this should be built into Bazite, right? Like how is that rule not already in there?
I would think probably, yeah. But I think that the Bazite stuff that gets the most love is the handheld stuff, and that the home theater and desktop, and then probably the home theater after that would be my guess.
Well, because on Bazite, on handhelds, I plug in a headset and it switches over. So can it be that different?
No, it's literally just you have to set up the rule for the controller, and probably they almost certainly don't have your SCUF. I'm surprised it doesn't work for the DualSense or the Xbox controller.
Yeah,
I would be curious if it works when you're plugged in with USB with the DualSense or the Xbox controller. I bet it does.
I tried both. It doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay, never mind then.
So get
wrecked.
Anyway, weird stuff.
Yeah, that should be a thing that you can have a little script that'll do that automatically for you.
Well, first I got to switch out the power supply. So let's talk about handheld stuff because you've been actually testing some handheld stuff. I've been testing some handheld stuff. The first one I want to get to real quick before we get to too much is GeForce Now. I finally got around to playing around with GeForce Now, but I tried it in a couple different ways. The first one is I still have on my Legion Go 2. I have finished the testing on CachyOS versus Bazite versus Steam Deck. It's actually a video I need to shoot for PCWorld. The results may shock you when it comes to performance. I definitely have learned some interesting stuff running Cachy handheld.
There's a lot going on, it turns out. It's a complicated thing. Yeah.
So I installed the Flatpak on Cachy.
The notes say you installed the Flat Oak, Adam. I'm just saying.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I did spell that wrong. So I went to desktop mode on the Cachy handheld, went to the NVIDIA website, downloaded the official, beta version of the Linux installer. Which
only for Ubuntu 24.04. Don't use it on anything else.
Yeah.
It works. It's fine.
It installed. I signed in. Everything worked fine. I was able to launch games. Everything worked great, except for it did not detect the controller inputs. It did not pass the controller inputs. So I couldn't actually play anything.
Are you launching it in Steam mode or are you launching it from the desktop?
I tried both.
Oh.
Yeah. If
you launch it from Steam mode, you might have to flip Steam input on, but it should just work.
Oh, okay. Actually, maybe I didn't. Maybe I just tried it from the desktop. Yeah. Okay, I should try that. But yeah, in desktop mode it did not. But whatever. Yeah, I guess I should try it. And
you might have to pop up the Steam menu and turn on Steam input. Sometimes it's weird. I don't understand exactly the rules of why it does and does not do Steam input. Sometimes
I can try it now.
Do live testing right here.
Yeah, there you go. Then also I installed it on Bazite on my home theater PC, and it keeps, like, I was able to install it. I was able to sign in, all that kind of stuff. I can launch a game, but no matter what I do, whether I'm sitting there at the menu or launching a game, it after maybe like 30 seconds to 60 seconds, it doesn't seem to be an exact time. It pops up a little screen that just says like, I get a crash error. Like it's like, oh, hey, you need to reboot or shut down the application.
Huh.
And I didn't mess around with it too much because I was doing the LACT and I was worried about the power supply stuff. So I didn't get that far, but like,
I wonder if there's it sounds like there's some dependency that the Flatpak didn't have you install that you need to put in manually, probably. But that, yeah. I don't know.
So like, I wasn't able to get it to run on there, but you've been using it, haven't you?
So I've been using Cache on I've been
desktop.
using GeForce Now on the desktop with Cache. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
and
it's been great.
Like I played. We talked about it a little bit last week, but like Arc Raiders, I played a pretty good session a couple of times on GeForce Now, and the only reason I could tell it wasn't on my local machine was that the fan wasn't spinning on the local machine. Right, it wasn't loud. Didn't get warm in my office.
I mean, which is nice, especially even on handheld. Like I've been playing it on the Legion Go S. And putting it down into low power state, and I'm able to play Arc Raiders at all bells and whistles turned on. I mean, it is a provided account from NVIDIA running the 5080 tier or whatever, but like, man, like it is really nice to just play a beautiful game at 120 and not have to worry about the handheld, running out of battery or being loud or anything like that. I don't want to love it, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, GeForce Now, it sucks, but like, man, and we are in the best case scenario. We're really close, got really good internet. We're close to the actual one of the
data center is really close.
The data center,
yeah.
So whatever. All that said, when it does work, it actually does work really well. Like it's Well, I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say You get a lot of the same benefit by using Apollo or Sunshine to stream from your gaming PC to your handheld too. Like it's a totally valid alternative, especially if you have a big gaming PC someplace. Like I've quite enjoyed that. Yeah. It's even nice in the living room. Like if I don't want to have the fans going on the machine in the living room, I just stream. I plug in. Yeah, there you go.
Dang, I didn't even think about that because like I usually have the office door shut. Like I'm not in here in the evening.
Bake it out in there. Just get it 90 degrees in there. Let it rip.
Yeah, there you go. Also, this is where the litter box is. So it'll just
cats will be warm,
all warm and
stewing. Yeah, just let that cook.
But yeah, other than that, so unfortunately, like just Cache OS on this Legion Go 2 just has
it's a little new.
Like I showed you yesterday when we were in the office, like I can't shut it down with the power button. It still takes a while to wake from sleep, not having the ability to control certain things like the display brightness and things like that. Like, usually when I sit down at night, I just want to play.
Yeah.
So, most of the time I'm not trying to futz with stuff and unfortunately it just does not work.
We should make t-shirts that say love to futz and then a picture of the Dual Boot Diaries logo.
Yeah, we love futz. Maybe it's us back to back like this.
Yeah, the Mythbusters pose. So I put Cache just as a sanity check. We talked about me grabbing one of the handhelds from the office and bringing it home to mess around with. I finally remembered yesterday. And I put Cache handheld edition on, what is it, an ROG LIX, I think?
ROG LAX, not the Xbox One, but it's the second generation. Extreme. Yeah.
It's a pretty beefy hardware, pretty nice high-res screen.
It's really nice, except for the only thing, well, there's two things. The ergonomics could be a little bit, I actually do prefer the Xbox One because of the handles.
Yeah.
But that screen is too small. I can't do 7 inches anymore, man. I gotta have 8 inch or more.
I think 7 inches is enough for me. You can put that in the headline.
Like a shirt.
Yeah, exactly. The I installed Cache just from the basic handheld installer yesterday. I set it up. I had to plug in the keyboard, I think, to create an account password was pretty much it. Like I was able to do everything with the touch. on the.
Well, except
on
you
the
had
handheld.
to change the scaling.
I did have to. Yeah, the scaling was like some insane. It was like 220% or something ridiculous. So like the whole
you literally couldn't get to the install button.
The Cache Hello window was too big for the desktop at that scaling. But once I changed the scaling, I and got the OS installed, I had to do one reboot after the initial like, hey, welcome to Steam OS. You've signed in and here's all your stuff. I had to do one reboot and then everything just worked. Like I haven't had to go to the desktop. I haven't had to do any. I mean, I haven't done stuff like install GeForce Now or Lutris or Decky Loader or any of that stuff yet. But like the sound sounds okay. It's a little quieter than I'd like. I think there's some like easy effects stuff that people run on the Asus hardware specifically.
Oh, interesting.
I might expand the range that the sound controls in SteamOS get access to. But yeah, like all the controls work. The back buttons work.
And it was already mapped. Like like all the buttons were. Well, once you rebooted
the plumber stuff that they do to make the Asus controllers work on the Steam with the Steam Deck OS it was all just there and working and was really good. So the performance was pretty good. It has 3 basic performance profiles. It has what is it? Low performance or low power, balanced and performance. The performance seemed like it capped out at like 45 watts, which is I think in line with what you said you get on Windows with that.
Except for so this is the weird thing. Usually there's a 4th performance profile.
4 profiles?
Yeah,
unprecedented.
It showed up in the right hand menu just like on any other instance, I mean, except for like Bazite usually has their own handheld daemon stuff. But yeah, most of these installers that support official SteamOS, like the Legion devices, I guess is the best analogy. Yeah, they usually have the 4 performance profiles, and the custom one is max. So not only is it max wattage, it's also max boosting. So the performance one, which is the second down one, actually should cap out at 35 watts, if I remember correctly. So that's why you're saying the performance profile is boosting all the way up to 45 watts, which is not usual behavior.
I wonder if this is a cachey choice. Like, are you talking, when you say usually, are you talking about Bazite or on SteamOS? Like the Valve one?
But that's the other weird thing. Like, I literally have Cache OS on this Legion Go 2, and I have that 4th performance profile.
Weird.
So I don't know why the Asus ROG Ally X does not have that one, but
I wonder if it's just because people don't, I wonder if it's just because different people are maintaining those. Like the person who has the Legion Go is maintaining the Legion Go side, and the person who has the Ally is maintaining the Ally side, and so on and so forth. That's weird. Yeah,
or who knows? Official support. I mean, the other part of it too could be that these Legion devices have better plumbing, like on the SteamOS side, because it is like a lot of them are officially supported. I will say when I go into the menu on Cache OS on this, here I'll just show you live here. When I go, okay, never mind. Hold on. It actually shows up. Oh, like when I launch a game, you know how like it'll show either the profile of the actual game thing. It shows the Legion Go S. So Cache is seeing this almost as a Legion Go S. So I think maybe that's what's happening, is that it has a little bit better support.
Weird. I mean, it's definitely early days for this kind of stuff. I think Bazite is probably the best, easiest option if you want to do handheld gaming on Linux on a Windows handheld. I think it's definitely easier. Like I don't know how I feel about having a rolling. I mean, I guess as you said, all I had to do to update was hit the update button in the SteamOS panel. I didn't shell out to the desktop or anything like that. So I'll see what it looks like in a week when there's been 1,000 Cache updates and see if it's still giving me regular, like see if I only get an update prompt when there's a Steam update, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's updating the whole. I don't even know how this is working right now, I guess.
I mean, I'm trying to use it that way. Yeah. Like a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, if it works like a Steam Deck, then that's
looks like a Steam Deck.
Thing.
It moves like a Steam Deck. It's probably a cow.
Like I'll say there's a couple downsides to the Cache thing like that. I don't want to discount how that sucks that you had to change the scaling to even just install it.
Yeah, that was if I wasn't pretty familiar with Linux, I was honestly a little perplexed about how I was going to get out of there. And you're like, hey, just change the scaling, dummy. So I did that. It worked.
when I'm trying to think of this as making it easy for people to install on their handhelds who maybe are not used to Linux, we know Linux. We're able to do it now.
We're
Linux
experts.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Clearly.
That's what we say all the time.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to discount that scaling thing probably would have like stopped a lot of people and been like, what the heck? How do I even
There's no install button.
What do I do? No install button. You wouldn't see it. Also, when you first... So then when you did install it and rebooted and it got into Steam, you signed in and the controller did not work. And at first you were like, what the heck? And I was like, oh, you know what? But this isn't just a cachey thing.
You were like, this always happens. Yeah.
I mean, not always, but for the most part, I've always had to reboot once for everything to detect properly.
I did an update after the Steam, I rebooted. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't blame that on a cachey thing, but I'm just trying to think of pain points for people who might not know. I will say doing that install, that setup, it was really nice having the two USB-C ports on the ROG Ally X, because I was able to keep one plugged into power, which the installer complained about the moment I removed power, and then I could plug a USB-C keyboard into the other one. So I was able to do the stuff that I needed to do, which was really good. Yeah. I've always appreciated having multiple ports. I mean, like obviously there's a lot of docks out there.
Yeah.
That people can use,
but you can just use a USB hub, right?
Yeah, I mean, but having two on the device definitely has its use cases.
It was good.
But yeah, so like, and I guess the last part, I'll give a little spoiler about the performance stuff. That I consistently saw the most performance, depending on even not depending on power profile. I got the most performance out of the Legion Go 2 using Bazite. Okay. Both at max wattage and also at 18 watts. So like, I think it's early days for cachey. Like, well, it obviously is, right? Bazite's been doing this for a lot longer. So yeah, but they all treat things a little bit differently. It can be a little confusing. And so that's why I do want to do that standalone video for PCWorld to because it's not just a performance thing, because like on the same exact device, trying to limit all the variables, I'm getting different performance out of SteamOS, Bazite, and cachey. Yeah. But yes, and spoilers, Bazite has been giving me the best performance out of this device. I guess I'd be curious to try it on another device. Like maybe I should, after you're done futzing with the ROG Ally X, maybe I try to see if I can replicate it over there as well. Like, is this just a Lenovo thing?
I worry with the Legion Go 2 that it's so new that you're hitting weird edges, right? Like, I mean, it's not that new, but it is new in open source time.
Yeah, the Z2 Extreme is not new because the Z2 Extreme is in your Ally X.
But it's configuration. Like these things are all bespoke. Like these are mostly bespoke systems with standard hardware in them, right?
Well, I think what a lot of people are expecting and what a lot of people want is, if you have official SteamOS support, like the Steam Deck, that it should just work the same way across all of them. I think a lot of people understand that if you go the Bazite route, there's going to be changes. Yeah. It literally has a completely different launcher that you have to, or not launcher, but pop up to be able to control, change TDP menu and things like that.
I was just saying
which I appreciate, but
that's the nice thing about the ROG Ally X and cachey is I just use it. Just looks like Steam when I'm changing those profiles and stuff. There's no secondary hardware overlay for that. It's just using the Steam interface.
The more I've used Bazite, the more I've actually. I do appreciate that, because that thing actually gets updated. You can change, like Proton versions, you can actually change the channel of the handheld daemon. Yeah. So like you get access to different features and things like that. And that's like the other downfall of SteamOS running on a lot of these handhelds is that you don't get certain controls. Like I said, the brightness or the colors around the sticks, things like that. TDP controls and brightness controls are the most important things for sure. But yeah, like that's the other thing is that I have cachey on this Legion Go 2 and I have that fourth profile where you don't.
I only have 3 profiles. More profiles better, right?
So I think to get to somewhere like this all needs to be, pretty straightforward. But also I think maybe what we're seeing is like we're seeing with other distros. like a lot of the questions people have are like, oh, hey, which distro should I pick? And it's like, okay, well, listen, they all do things a little bit differently. And in handheld land, it's the same thing. We're getting different performance profiles. We're getting different things that we can configure. On the Steam Deck, it's pretty straight. That's like the base level of experience, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of these are trying to do extra stuff on the top or don't have access in the same way.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting is like you and I use these handhelds as like secondary systems, right? Like they're a way to play games sitting on the couch or laying in bed or whatever. They're not like, I feel like I would have a different set of criteria for this than if it was my main gaming machine, the main way I played games. And sure. I know that there's a fair number of people who use handhelds as their main way to play games, whether it's in handheld mode or plugged into the TV. And I like the right answer for, hey, this is the way I play casual or kind of lighter indie games in my living room is different. Like my requirements for that are different than, oh, this is how I'm going to play every game that I play. Right. So like I might want Cashy if this is my main gaming machine, and I might want Bazite or SteamOS vanilla if this is a thing that I use to play like 2D indie games and Sectori and stuff like that. And I think that's like, I think it's good that there's solutions for everybody, right? Like this is where the choice is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it got me thinking, though. It's like a lot of people just want SteamOS to be ubiquitous across all these handhelds. And like I said, like I actually do kind of like that Bazite has, some other touches to it. So like I actually, like before going into all this, that's what I wanted. I was like, okay, every handheld out there should just ship with SteamOS. Mm-hmm. It should just work the same exact way. But now that I've been in Linux, maybe I'm, Linux has gotten to me.
It's in your head.
Now I'm like, I actually do appreciate that each one kind of offers a little bit different experience. I think at the end of the day, and I talked about this last week though, is that I don't see anything specific about the Cashy experience other than issues that I'm like, I actually prefer this. I don't know why I would recommend this to somebody over Bazite right now.
I think you should try Cashy on older hardware. I think your hardware is too new for the Cashy. Like I think it's too unevenly supported for the Cashy experience. But also, I don't know that I want a rolling distro in this kind of application, right? Like I'm not running a rolling distro. I'm not running the rolling version of the distro on my stream machine because I just want the occasional updates, not the everyday updates, right? I want to keep it simple. And the handheld's a similar situation.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but SteamOS is immutable like
Bazite, yeah.
Yeah. So like I do think that is kind of the way to go, just to be safe.
Seems like for appliance computing, that is the way to go. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So, but who knows? Maybe I guess maybe should we reach out to the Cashy people and be like, why are you doing this? I mean, I'm
sure
think
people
it's
mostly
ask for
it. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, like, I think a lot of people, and actually we've had people in Discord ask as well, is like, oh, hey, listen, actually, you know what? I think I pulled one of those questions.
Ooh, questions?
Real quick. We don't have to, oh no, I don't have it right here, but yeah, somebody was like, oh, hey, like Cashy OS seems to be like getting a lot of buzz about being the gaming distro. How is it different than Bazite? Because I feel like Bazite has been the default for gamers. So like I think there's interest in there, and I'm sure the Cashy people are like, oh hey, gaming handhelds, we want to be in that space too. Yeah. I'm curious to see where it goes and if what they can offer differently. So anyway, we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah.
We do have some really good questions. I think
maybe we should do a questions episode next week. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe we should do that. Because we got a lot of good questions, and I do want to get to them. I do actually read all the questions that you put in the Full Nerd Discord. If you want to come hang out with other fine Linux nerds, we have a Discord for you, baby. Get down in the description. There's a link to the Full Nerd Discord. We have a Linux channel in there. We have a bunch of other channels in there as well. And then we also have a channel called DBD_questions. You can put your question in there, and hopefully we will get to them on
at some point,
upcoming episode.
At some point. Yeah. Well, I mean, look, sometimes people are just jumping in there and hitting a thread button and answering questions for people who have questions, which is nice.
True. Well, and some of them are just like, oh, hey, have you guys heard of X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not really a question we can answer on the podcast. It's like a yes or no kind of thing.
Some of them are like, why the hell are you doing that? Are you stupid? And the answer is probably yes. But,
and some of them are just not even questions.
Yeah.
And then I delete them.
More of a comment.
Yeah. Anyway, and if you actually want to see our pretty faces and watch the YouTube version, we actually pushed the pre-recorded video version live. It's like a live to tape thing at noon Pacific on the Full Nerd Network's YouTube channel. So you go over to YouTube, search for the Full Nerd Network. Dual Boot Diaries lives over there among other fine podcasts like the Full Nerd podcast, where we talk about PC hardware. But then also, not by the time this is up, but should be very shortly in the next week, I will be officially launching the Handheld podcast that I am starting with one Russ from Retro Game Core. Spoilers, we're actually recording episode 0 this afternoon. So
what? It's happening?
Yeah, we're ready. We are close.
I'm excited. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. And so if you don't know Russ from Retro Game Core, you should, because he is awesome. And he's who I watch to get information about handhelds. And he focuses a lot on the emulation side, the Android side, the retro gaming kind of side.
He's a smart dude.
Where I'm mostly focusing on x86 and handhelds and stuff like that. So I just honestly wanted another way to talk to Russ every week. So yeah, but don't worry, I'll let you know when that's out, and you can subscribe to everything because it'll be a fun one. And you know what? Guess what? I'm sure we will talk about Linux here and there.
I assume it's going to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. So anyway. Anything else I need to get to?
I think that's it. Subscribe, like, find us on Deezer and other places that are podcasts. Yeah.
And stars and whatever.
If you want to leave a review, that is always really helpful. We appreciate each and every one of those.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Will.
I appreciate you, Adam. This is always fun.
Yeah, hey, that is fun.
Look, we're learning. We're exploring new stuff. Oh, man, hold on. Can I add one more question for the community?
Pump the brakes.
Yep, hit the brakes.
Time.
Arc Raiders gets slow after like 2 hours of playing. Like the animation gets chunky and the frame rate starts going up and down. It's the same thing. We've talked about it before. It always happens after X period of time. It does not happen for the first like hour and a half that I'm playing the game. It's easy. Restarting the game fixes it every single time.
Is it filling up your VRAM? Do you have like a
I will keep an eye on that. I've watched for like GPU. I have 32 gigs of VRAM. I should be fine.
I know, but I guess I feel like when I hear that a lot, where it's like, oh, hey, if something is extended for a long period of time and all of a sudden
it gets bad,
has
check
performance
your VRAM
issues, or it's filling something up. There's a cache somewhere or an errant process that is gone wild.
I guess I'm asking because I don't know how to troubleshoot this. I would love some advice. And since it takes 2 hours to get to the state that it's going to have a problem, it's a little bit hard to troubleshoot. I would love suggestions for things I should look for in logs and stuff like that. If that's useful, or if anybody has any ideas, I would love to know them. So that's what I'm putting out for the community. I'm using the Hive Mind.
Hey, help Will.
Help me.
Help Will help you.
Yeah. I'll talk about it if you help me. That's the benefit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you in the next video and audio. Bye.